City and our monthly, this is our final one for the year, is that correct, Delia? Our final organ recital for the year. They have been such a blessing and such amazing music over the last few months. And I'll let Delia introduce our artist for today, but I just want to extend a welcome and thank you for being here. We're also here at 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings, and if you're ever, in the mood for some Get Your Baptist on. We have a fantastic organ player here at Aaron Flood. Does some good stuff. So you can always join us if you like. I've been asked to open up in prayer, so I'm going to do that. Loving God, the God of joy, the God of music, the God of transcendent, worshipful, sacred things, we come before you today and we thank you for the joy of gathering together and experiencing musical art. We ask that you would just be in our midst and enjoy our presence here and the just joy that this music brings to our hearts. Bless all of the people who have gone into preparing it today, and bless our artist as he brings his music today. In the name of Christ we pray. Amen.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming today. I know some people have made a very special effort, and I'm glad to welcome two people from the Ukraine Association, because Alex, our organist, wants to donate anything that is collected in the free will offering today to the Ukraine Association. And they are very good about this, and we give them free range because this is the second time we've been able to help for Ukraine. So they will put it to the best use, and I trust you with that, and I know you'll do it. So please give whatever you can at the free will offering, and know that every penny is going to them, and they are going to use it well. And now I have to call Alex a bit of a whiz kid, because when I read his bio, I thought, is there anything he can't do?
Which I didn't write, by the way, Ken wrote.
Yeah, that was a great bio, Ken. So we're in for a treat, as usual, but he's about the only organist out of all the ones we've done that have listened when I said, don't make it all terribly highbrow, because being Baptist, we're not a terribly highbrow church. So he listened. I give you credit for that, Alex. So we've got a delightful program. You're going to enjoy it, I know. Afterwards, there will be a reception with good food, and please come eat with us. And we had a full Thanksgiving dinner here, but I didn't get time to eat any, so I will eat. But you guys are not from this church. This is Alex's family and supporters, so we're very glad you're here. And it's lovely to meet you all. So with that, I'm going to let Alex come forward, give him a round of applause, and he's going to introduce the pieces he's going to play.
All right, is this thing working? This is. I have to say, Delia, I was actually worried that the converse might be true about the pieces. I was sitting here thinking, man, I didn't do enough Bach or Vierne or anything like that. We should have done more. So I'm very glad to hear that. Well, thank you. Kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, my name is, let's see, gotta make sure this is far enough away that it's not gonna distort. My name is Alex Boyd. Super excited to play today. I'll go through the pieces as I play them. First up is going to be Festive Trumpet Tune. This is a fairly well-known piece among organists, written by David German in the 1990s. He wrote it as a wedding gift to his wife, and it sort of became his one famous piece that everyone knows about. I think that's just the best story. Like, I would love a wedding gift that was like a famous piece. So, Festive Trumpet Tune. Let's open the concert. Testing, testing. There we go. Next up is a piece called Adagio. For those of you who were here 2 months ago, I played this in there was this whole Ukraine benefit concert fundraiser recital that was done 2 months ago, and I was privileged to have Delia ask me to play in that. And this is the piece I did there, so we're going to have a repeat performance. This piece is commonly attributed to the Baroque composer Tommaso Albinoni. The secret about this piece is that it was not actually written by Master Albinoni, but was written by one of Albinoni's catalogers, Remo Giazzotto, in the 20th century. If you're familiar with the story of Fritz Kreisler, the violinist and composer, it's very similar. Giazzotto claimed to have discovered a long-lost piece of Albinoni's, and then some research was done, and people discovered that he actually just composed it himself and was using Albinoni's name to make it famous. But by then it had become a famous piece in its own right, and it is a delightful piece, so rightly so. So here is Albinoni's, but actually Giazzotto's Adagio in G. right, next up we have two pieces. These are by Bach and Vierne, respectively. First one is a chorale prelude on Liebster Jesu, wir sind hier, which is Dearest Jesus, we are here. Bach wrote, he's famous for his many chorale preludes that he wrote, but I think this is probably his most well-known one, and it's certainly beautiful. It's actually kind of interesting. You have to clarify which one it is because he wrote more than one chorale prelude on the same piece. So this is BWV 731. Dearest Jesus, we are here, and then after that, I'll go straight into Berceuse, which is German for lullaby. This was written by the French composer Louis Vierne, who, if you don't know him, how many of us have thought about, the benefits of dying doing what we loved? I'm sure that, some of us have thought about that. It'd be a great way to go. And Vierne is notable in that he loved playing the organ, and he always wanted to die playing the organ. And sure enough, on a recital of his, he was going to do an improv, and he went back to the organ bench, and all of a sudden, everyone heard this. Just that note, that exact note. And they thought it was the start of some sort of fun improv. No, it turns out he had died and fallen forward and landed on the pedal board. And sure enough, he got to die what he loved doing. And that is my wish for all of you, by the way. So, Berceuse by Vierne. I'm looking at Ken here. Ken will tell you that I'm never one to shy away from doing things in an unconventional manner. So I'm going to register this completely differently than how you would normally register this if you were playing Vierne in an authentic manner. So for those of you who know this piece, just see what you think. It's a little different. So we'll do Liebster Jesu, and then we'll go straight into Berceuse. I forgot to add one note about Berceuse. Given that it's a lullaby, if you listen, there's sort of a call-response thing between the baby crying out and the mother reassuring it that it's okay. Listen for that. It makes the piece so much better when you know that little snippet. All right. We're going to actually skip over the next piece on the program, the Wellman Toccata. It's a fun one, but not the one for today. I think I might lose a battle with the organ if I try to play it. Next up on the program is Zelda's Lullaby and Hakushin's Lullaby. So these two pieces, I'm going to introduce the first one, then I'll introduce the second. But they're both from video games. For those of you who know me, as I said about musical tastes with Ken and registrations and everything, this extent, I like being creative and breaking all the rules and stuff. And I would be lying if I said that I hadn't played Zelda's Lullaby as postlude in church service before. I thought that, maybe one or two people get it, and then a year later come to find out everyone's like, oh, remember that one time you played that piece? I'm like, wait, you knew what that was? Dang it. But they loved it, so it was fine. So Zelda's Lullaby, this is from the video game series The Legend of Zelda, an enduring classic brought to the world by Nintendo. And hopefully it'll be a melody that you recognize, and if not, then it's really a lovely piece and really suiting as a prelude, I think. So here's a prelude on Zelda's Lullaby from The Legend of Zelda. Next up, we have Hakushin's Lullaby. This is from the recent popular video game Genshin Impact. If any of you have heard of Fortnite from your children or grandchildren or anyone you know, this was sort of the one that sort of stole Fortnite's thunder in recent times. So it's the new Fortnite, if you want to think about it that way. My brother James is sitting here, right there. Got someone pointing to him. So he is a big fan of Genshin Impact and is also quite the musical talent in his own right. And so he did a piano arrangement of this. And I forget the circumstance, but somehow this came up a couple months ago. Hey, you're doing that organ recital, you know, looking for pieces, you know. And so I took it and sort of adapted it into an organ arrangement. And so the credit for the bulk of this piece goes to James. But it's also a similarly lovely one. Anyway. Here is Hakushin's Lullaby. Okay, now we get on to the fun stuff. It's all going to be pretty quick pieces from here on out. Not quick time-wise, but upbeat, up-tempo. So, Brother James's Heir is a fun little piece written by a pastor, I believe he was Scottish, who didn't play any instruments. As far as anyone knew, wasn't musically inclined, but just sort of came up with this piece. And as someone said about him, he didn't play any instruments, but he was always humming. And there have been many, many arrangements of this. And the piece itself is in 6/4 time or 3/4. I thought I'd have some fun with this and change it up and put it into 4/4 instead. So this is Brother James's Heir in 4/4 time. We're going to be doing, I assume, Delia didn't confirm this with me, but I assume we're doing the free will offering during this part. And so please, as was mentioned before, all proceeds of this free will offering are going to the Utah-Ukraine Association. Please give generously. As I think all of you know from reading the news, they can use all the help they can get. So anything you can give. So without further ado, Brother James's Heir in 4/4 time. Okay, next up, a similar postlude on Sussex Carol. This is another one of my own inventions. It's sort of a fun thing. The Sussex Carol was, its authorship is unknown. What is known is that Ralph Vaughan Williams and I believe Cecil Sharp was traveling with him. They were roaming around the Scottish countryside collecting hymns and carols, and a lady whose name I'm escaping hummed this one to them, and they wrote it down. And where she got it from is unknown. But Ralph Vaughan Williams made a setting of it, and that is the most frequently used of the hymn settings for this piece. But it's a fun piece. The Sussex Carol, on Christmas night, all Christmas sing, for those who know by this title. Okay. I've asked Cole to help me with registration changes for this one. So this is Angels We Have Heard on High. It's an arrangement by Richard Elliott, the tabernacle organist, and has the distinction of being written in 7/8 time, so a little bit syncopated, I feel. It was a little bit tricky to learn, but well worth it. It's a very fun piece. So, Angels We've Heard on High in 7/8. We're just into the weird key signatures today, apparently. Okay, and next we have another one by another tabernacle organist. This one by Andrew Unsworth. Ding Dong Merrily on High. Fun little arrangement. My father is a big fan of this piece. We kind of have this debate back and forth because my favorite of this one and the next one that I'm going to play after that to close out the program is the next one, and his favorite is this one. So, we have occasional debates on which one I'm going to play for whatever function. And in this case, we're going to do both. So here's Ding Dong Merrily on High by Andrew Unsworth. And last but not least, we come to the end of the program. We're going to close out the program with an arrangement of Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella by Keith Chapman. Keith Chapman was the organist for the Wanamaker organ in Philadelphia. This is the largest fully functioning organ in the world, which is of all places, where would you expect the largest organ to be? In a Macy's department store. There's a long story behind that I encourage you to read up on, but it's the largest fully functioning organ in the world. Macy's has done a great amount to improve it over the years, and so it's really fun that such an organ continues to exist. And Keith Chapman was quite the character. He was well known for pulling pranks on shoppers of various sorts, or for chatting with people or inviting them into the console where he was playing this huge organ. And he had a flair for the dramatic. And so our very own Richard Elliott, who I think many of you know his style, given the piece of his that I just played a moment ago, worked with him for a few years early on in his career as assistant organist at Wanamaker's. And when you know that, I think Rick makes a lot more sense as far as his style. It almost feels very similar to Keith's, but I think Rick might have taken it a little bit further than Keith. Keith tragically died when he was, I believe, 43 in a plane accident. So this was, he'd still be around and not all that old in the grand scheme of things if he was still with us. But this piece is one of his arrangements. It's affectionately known in the organ world on account of its very upbeat and spirited nature, shall we say, as Bring a Blowtorch. So let's welcome in the Christmas season. Everyone get out your blowtorches. I'm Alex Boyd. Thank you for joining us for tonight's recital. There will be refreshments afterward, and you should try the tarts and let me know how they are. I haven't tried them yet. They came out of the oven. I don't know how they are, but I told Delia I'm donating baked goods because I love baking. So, we'll close out the concert with Bring a Blowtorch.
Thank you, Alex. That was beautiful. And thank you for taking us so joyously into the Christmas season. I know we haven't had Thanksgiving yet, but we'll be thanking God all week, and especially for the gift of music. Thank you again all for coming. As you heard, Alex likes to bake, and so he has brought 3 large lemon blueberry tarts, and he insists that everybody cut their own slice, whether be it small or large. So they're not out at the moment because the table's full of other food, but don't go before you've had some of the lemon blueberry tart. And now I have to apologize to all the organists here that have played for us before, because I didn't mean by saying that I'm not a highbrow person, I'm not, but they all know that I don't like Bach, and I know it's sacrilegious to not like Bach, but he's not a fan, I'm not a fan of his. But you've all done a wonderful job this season, and I think we have to give Ken some credit, because I think most of these young people that have played for us, and I've tried to make this a venue for young people to come and play, because they don't get that much exposure to show off their talents. And so I've enjoyed all of this, every single one of you, and thank you all for playing for us. And please join us all now in the parlor, which is, for those of you who haven't been before, around the corner and turn left. And there is a lot of food, so please come and eat. Thank you again, and thank you again, Alex.